The Brockton School Committee to order, it being Tuesday, December 20th, 2022 at 6 p.m. I respectfully ask everybody to please rise and we'll salute our American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We do have a pretty good agenda tonight, but again, just for the record, Brockton High School will have the holiday concert at 7 o'clock tonight, so I respectfully hope that we can conclude so we can all support the boys and girls. I will establish a quorum at this time, but I do just need to read the following in. In addition to attending tonight, the public can view this meeting via television on Comcast Channel 98 and 107.1 HD version, and online via the following link, www.youtube.com/TheBrocktonChannels. We will just read the roll. Mrs. Sullivan?
Here.
Ms. Ehlers?
Here.
Mrs. Rivas-Mendez?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Ms. Azak? Here. Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
The chair says, well, we established a quorum. Mrs. Campbell has indicated the hearing of visitors. No one signed in on agenda number 2, so we do not have hearing of visitors at this time. I would, before we get to agenda 3, I would like to formally introduce a new team member from the mayor's office. Kamaya is here tonight. She's our government affairs and public policy. Kamaya, if you wouldn't mind coming to the podium, and I know you send emails out to the elected officials, school committee, city council, state delegation, county officials, but welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor, for that introduction. My name is Kamaya Parkin. I started as the new Policy and Intergovernmental Affairs in the Mayor's office. Super excited to be here. I come from the city of Boston. I moved here to Brockton in 2019, so I'm a transplant, but I'm super excited to learn more about the city and to kind of build my legacy here along with all of you. So please, if you see me, use me as a resource. I've emailed people. I'd love to get anyone's information before I leave and just to continue to build our partnership, so thank you.
Thank you very much. And just Kamaya worked for city council and then mayor Kim Janey in Boston, so she brings a wealth of knowledge politically, and she's just a great person. So welcome to the team, and thank you for what you do. We look forward to working with you. With that being said, we will go on to a consent agenda, which is agenda item number 3. A, B, and C. Are there any members of the school committee that would like to take anything out of order, or would we take them collectively? Mr. Sullivan.
Motion to approve items A, B, and C on the agenda.
So motion made by Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second?
Second. Seconded.
I'll give it to Kathy. Mrs. Ehlers made a second. Before we take a formal vote, let me just read it into the record if I could. Consent agenda A is the approval of the minutes, building naming subcommittee meeting, December 6, 2022. B is a request for authorization to submit proposal and expenditures of funds, authorization to submit a request for the pro-literacy, literacy opportunity fund in the amount of $10,000 even. And then finally, C is the acceptance of the human resources notifications, appointments, certified personnel, appointments non-certified, and then personal actions, which are leaves of absences, resignations, and retirements. There's a motion on the floor, property second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It passes unanimously. A, B, and C are hereby ratified by the council. We'll go on by the school committee. We'll go on to agenda 4, which is the report of Mike Thomas, Superintendent of the Schools. Good evening, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor. First, we're going to start with our student representative, J.R. So he's going to fill us in on what's been going on at Brockton High School, and he's got another PowerPoint for us.
Got you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jahir Tino Castillo, and I'm currently a senior at Brockton High. And I'm currently substituting for our dear Abby, who's also our student rep. She isn't feeling well yet, and hopefully we wish her a speedy recovery. But let's get this started. Kind of had to start it off with the label with our amazing BHS. Just amazing is one of my favorite words and one of the best ways to describe BHS. But first item on the agenda is the committee visits the debate club. Recently, we had the members from the school committee visit the Law and Debate Club to talk to students about the policy-making process and to address students' concern. It was a blast being able to hear how decisions were made based on state laws and municipal policies. So each here we could see Ms. Mendez, and we also had Ms. Sullivan there as well. I was there in attendance as well. It was really an experience. We got to learn about how, school policies were implemented, and from getting that from the people who make these policies was just very eye-opening experience for me. And you can see this is Miss Tucker's room, obviously, with all the cows. If you had the pleasure to meet her, she's in love with cows, which kind of will bring us to the next item, which is the bingo night with the kids. We had a bingo night at the Raymond School, which was funded by the Michelle A. Logan Family Center. And we had volunteers from Brockton High School host and manage a bingo night for kids at the Raymond Elementary School. Both parents and students were able to participate, and we're getting 5 in a row. How you win bingo, all the students were able to get a free book. And at the end of the night, whether the kids won or lost or had a chance to win, they all received books from different levels, which ranged from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade. And at this time, I would like to thank the Michelle A. Logan Family Center for the contribution. And we would also like to thank Miss Tucker, whose cow costume stole the show. Let's just say the kids were loving it. And we would also thank our volunteers, Milani, Clifford, and Joy, for being there. Let's just say they had a lot of kids to deal with. It was definitely an experience. They were getting chased around, and we kind of like a little inside joke where the volunteers were Santa little helpers. So, so the kids will behave for their parents, hopefully. They want to get on the good list, let me tell you that. But, yeah. Which leads us to the next item, which is senior movie night. The Senior Executive Committee has successfully planned a movie night, which occurred last Friday night. The movie we watched was Elf, which had the whole crowd laughing and giggling. No matter how many times I watched this movie, it never gets old. Especially watching it with friends, just made the experience more memorable. And as we can see, we got that random piece of wood from, I wish I could tell you from where, I'm not gonna lie to you. And we just had like a impulse idea to, just write 2023 and have all the people who were there sign their names. And look, not even the bottom part of the wood is cut off, so you can tell it was just random. It wasn't really intentional. But now we have a new piece of decoration. I don't know where they left. I think there's somewhere in the main office. I'm not gonna lie to you, and also it was pajama night, so you can see Sophie with the Baby Yoda costume, adorable, and yeah, it's our big senior family. And this next one might make some of you guys hungry. This is a fine arts cafe. In this image, we have a clear representation of our delicious food prepared by Brockton High culinary students. Looking at this image just makes my mouth water, but I'll restrain myself and stick to my diet of just water at the moment in this cookie, which is delicious. Thank you guys for that. But at this time, I would like to invite the audience and the committee members to stop by the Fine Arts Cafeteria on Fridays for a delicious meal. So, way to support students. Which leads us to Murder In. And just to repeat it, it's not a real murder, guys, just to clear that up in there. It was our play. And BHF Fine Arts Drama has successfully put on a play called Murder In, a murder mystery about tourists being stalled by a storm, which caused them to stop at a haunted motel where one of the members suddenly dies. Well, suddenly get murdered, but I kind of have to use more flowery language here. And I would like to shout out the set designers, the wardrobe technician, and the casting crew for an outstanding performance, successfully selling out tickets to all 3 nights. And this is from, I quote, one of my friends who came as well one of the nights. He had to sit on a stool because there wasn't enough seats. And it was just amazing to see how many people came to support the show. I heard it was amazing. And some of the cast would include Olivia, Andrea, Yanisa, Gennaro, and so many others that I have had a chance to talk to, but they played a huge major contribution. As we can see here are one of our leads, Steven and Melody, holding a knife. It just seemed a bit too realistic. I don't know if I should be concerned or not, but they're great actors with bright futures in the industry. And next, this is one of my favorite sections. We are going to shout out 2 special students who, I don't know if you guys heard about the Questbridge Scholarship. We have 2 recipients from BHS. And the first one, we're going to start off with Enoch Yeme Castillo. At this time, I would like to congratulate him for receiving the scholarship. Enoch Yema Castillo, who received a full scholarship to Boston College. Enoch is an active member in the community and wants to pursue a major in political science so he can later attend law school after college. And it's kind of an ongoing joke at the main office with Ms. Miriam is that we stated that he will be the 50th president of the United States. So keep your eyes open for the next few elections. One of our alumni might be running the country, which, or the city. So watch out, Mr. Sullivan. True. And next we have Aminata Kone. Aminata also received a Questbridge Scholarship, and I'm going to receive a full ride scholarship to no other than Stanford University in California. The name of the school just speaks for itself, but Aminata is interested in pursuing a major in computer science. So later she can work in the tech industry, pursuing research. When interviewing Aminata, she stated, "I'm an open book who enjoys exploring new things. And some of her interests include art, environment, bio, and astronomy." Truly inspirational. And then we have, I think this is like our last slide, but I do have a few other things other than this. We have the John Abigail Scholarship. For over 200 students were awarded the John Abigail Scholarship, which will be given to them in the upcoming weeks. I think it's somewhere January 12th, if I'm not wrong, that's the exact date. And we would also like to highlight the basketball wins. The boys varsity won their first game against Hingham, and it was scored 64-62. And for the members who were able to attend, it was a really close game, and it was just amazing. And also Saturday they won against BC High with a score of 62-57. And I would like to also shout out the girls varsity basketball who won against Barnstable 54-52. They're cutting it real close, but a win's a win. A win's a win, let me tell you. And also, I would like to finish off with stating some of the colleges our students have been admitted to early action. We have UMass Boston, UMass Dartmouth, University of Hartford, Boston University, Northeastern, Dean College, Bridgewater State University, UPenn, Pittsburgh State University, Curly Goldie, Beacon, Suffolk, MCPHS, Southern State University, Simmons University, and Lincoln College, and Emmanuel College. So we would like to congratulate all these members. I wish I would be able to, say all their names and all their descriptions, but I just want to say that the class of 2023 will take this year by storm. We have a lot of accomplished students and a lot of dedicated students who will inspire others to create change within the community. So if anyone's watching this, I would like to congratulate you guys and congratulate the staff, administrators, and teachers who have helped these students pursue their dreams, who live vicariously by them. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And it's amazing to think that how well the senior class is doing at all of our high schools because they were freshmen when we had to shut down. So their high school careers were severely interrupted by COVID, shut down after their freshman year, pretty much spent most of their sophomore year online, came back last year, which was a very tough year with all of us getting back together. That wasn't so. 3 of their 4 years at high school were not normal at all, but to see how hard they've worked. And again, this is not just Brockton High, it's Champion and Huntington, Edison Academy, just the seniors that are graduating. It's incredible. And for what they had to deal with and coming through it. So thank you for letting us know that, and we look forward to future reports.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So next up, I'm going to bring up our Assistant Superintendent for EDI, and also she's joined by her colleague, our Director in EDI, Donnell Williams. So Renee Haywood is just going to give an overview of the ACT conference this year. Most school committee members attended that. as well as myself. And it was a great day and a ton of work into it. We had over 65 presenters in different workshops for our staff, and it was a great day, and it was great to walk around. I get into about 30 different workshops, and just to see the engagement, the level of engagement by our staff, and how captivating the presenters were was really uplifting. So, and then at the end, obviously listening to our student ambassadors, who we'll hear from tonight, was amazing as well. And they were featured on, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Commissioner Riley from DESE sends out an email every week with a picture of the week, and they were the picture of the week for the week of the ACT conference. So, and that's from all over the state. So, thank you, Renee.
Thank you so much. We are off to a great start. The EDI department has a lot going on, and I'm not going to speak so much about the conference because I really want to allow Darnell to speak, and we have our student ambassadors, and I think that we want to just be able to have them speak last. So we just have the presentation in that order, if you don't mind. Now, for you as school committee members, I put a booklet from the conference on your desk, and it has the various workshop leaders and their bios, and just a little bit more information as we open the conference. So if all of you, I think, were there at some point during the day, but some of you weren't able to get one of these, so now you have one. Again, it was a fabulous day, having 60 workshops and pop-up restaurants, and just a way to experience Brockton as a culture. So much energy happening. So without further ado, I would want to turn this over now to Darnell Williams. Don't you like the picture? So he's going to come and speak because he's really taken the lead. He's stepped up a whole lot this year and has taken a lot off of my plate. And I just want to publicly thank you, Darnell, for how you've really just taken the lead in so many great areas. So thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the chair, Mayor Sullivan, the vice chair, Joyce Asak, Superintendent Thomas, and everyone here on the school committee. Thank you for having me here, and I'm honored to be a part of tonight's presentation. And I'm joined with 2 of our student ambassadors, and these 2 student ambassadors were also the hosts during the ACT conference, particularly during the town hall meeting. So I'm here to give an update first on the Student Equity Councils, which is a new initiative that we are rolling out, and we're in the process of rolling it out currently, and we're looking at rolling it out in 2 schools, middle schools, West Middle School and North Middle School. So I'm going to talk briefly about what we mean by a Student Equity Council, which is really different from a student council. And then the second thing I'm going to be talking about is sort of sharing some feedback about the ACT conference. So just a little bit of background about how we started with the Student Equity Council. And it started about 2 years ago. Brockton received an Equitable Design for Restart and Recovery grant from the Novo Foundation. And it was really in terms of how do we begin to address and what are some of the challenges that this district is facing as it relates to COVID-19 pandemic. So that's how we got started with this. And as a grantee, we received technical assistance, and really the technical assistance has really been around understanding equitable design, and how do we design initiatives that really addresses Brockton challenges. So I'm actually on one subcommittee as a part of this bigger group, and the subcommittee that I'm on is the Student Voice. and it's really focused on how do we amplify student voice throughout the district. And one of our strategies has been creating a Student Equity Council. So what is a Student Equity Council? And this is a part of a framework that we've created and circulated throughout the district. So we love acronyms, so we come up with SEC for Student Equity Council. But the Student Equity Council is a student-led council, and is focused on equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. What does that really mean from a student perspective? We wanted to start this at the middle school level, and so that's why we're piloting it in 2 middle schools. So the mission is really, again, focused on amplifying student voice and really getting a group of students to really raise their voices and to really speak about what are some of the issues that are pertinent in terms of creating a welcoming, inclusive, hospitable learning environment for all students. So who consists of a Student Equity Council? So we're talking about anywhere between 15 to 30 students with a staff advisor supporting the Student Equity Council. The staff advisor that would be supporting the Student Equity Council is really there to sort of provide support and also guidance, but also professional development with this group of students around understanding introductory equity issues. So why Student Equity Councils? We believe that the research really speaks to many of our students who are least engaged in their learning environments. By getting them involved, helping to amplify their voices, those are strategies to actually engage them. So this is really about pulling in as opposed to stepping apart and pushing students out. The research tells us that when students are actively engaged in their learning experiences, it reduces dropout rates, it engages them in retention, and it also elevates their leadership potential. So I'm not going to read every piece of it, but the last point that I want to emphasize is that the Student Equity Council is also about transforming relationships between the adults and the students. And that what does it really mean to be supportive? What does it really mean to champion and support young people? And so those are some of the themes that the Student Equity Council would be sort of experimenting with and exploring deeply. Few more benefits. We see our students as partners. You know, we often talk about how do we get at the proficiency commitment? Well, students have to be a part of that conversation. They are the key partners in changing academic outcomes. So we have to see the students that way. So the Student Equity Council is really about helping us sort of transition how we see our students. The other part of it, yes, we're starting at the middle school, but it's also important for us to be thinking about beyond high school and beyond entering into the workforce. So this is sort of a stepping ground in terms of giving students dreams and helping them to sort of explore their dreams and their talents. It's also an opportunity to look at some of our school policies that relates to what students are saying about, I feel welcome, I feel appreciated, I feel valued as learners here, and I want to be here. So we just started rolling this out. So at West Middle School, we are in the process of creating an application process for students to apply to be a part of the Student Equity Council. They are also doing that at North. We are hoping to get it actually officially started by the end of January, beginning February, and then go throughout the year. We want to be collecting data on it so that as we look at the data next school year, we'll be able to roll it out even larger than starting at 2 schools. So that's the Student Equity Council. The next thing that I'm here to talk about is the ACT Conference. And you have the booklets in front of you, and also on the last page of the ACT Conference booklet, there's a QR code to the glossary of EDI terms. So you can certainly peruse that at your leisure, but that's just version 1. So the ACT Conference, it was on election day, and a few things about the ACT Conference. This year, we had in-person workshops, and all of the in-person workshops were organized around our 3 focus areas and focus on the proficiency commitment. So we had a total of 60 workshops. One of it included a workshop for the students. We had 32 external workshop facilitators. And we also had 28 internal workshop facilitators. So roughly we had half internal and half external. And the purpose of having both was to build capacity around EDI work in this district. The ACT Conference included community allies. So these are just some of the community allies who supported and made sure that the logistics of the day went smoothly. Another component of the ACT Conference involved pop-up restaurants. So during lunchtime, we had 9 different options spread across all of the 4 cafeterias, thank you. And that was huge. The lines were really big. So next year, we're already thinking about how to do that more expediently and more proficiently. This is a snapshot of some of the workshops. So you can see our staff were engaged in professional learning experiences at the ACT Conference. And every workshop that I went to, and I took the student ambassadors around, and we did visits to many of the workshops, we saw educators, we saw staff and administrators actively engaged in what was happening. More engaging learning experiences from the conference. And then the second line, we see some of the student ambassadors speaking at the town hall meeting. That was the end of the ACT Conference. We also had parent representation, so you see that in the bottom center. And then we see our 2 hosts of the town hall. I want to give you some feedback on the survey responses. So survey responses in districts, what is considered to be a good response rate in completing surveys from professional development experiences? Generally, anywhere between 40 to 60% response rate. We got almost 60% response rate, which is actually pretty good. So this is just a snippet of it. And I apologize in advance because I know that you probably can't see it because you don't have bionic eyes. But I promise we will make this available for you. So chart 1, what we see here is the question is about, did people find this the workshop interesting, enthusiastic, and motivating? And so the key that you can't really see, the dark green represents strongly agree, the light green represents green, the gray represents no responses, the pink represents disagree, and then the red represents strongly disagree. And so the way, just to provide some analysis to what this means, when you combine the dark green and the light green, you get 70.9% of people saying strongly agree to agree, which is very high. A quarter of that says they didn't respond at all, which is a no response. And then 3.5, when you combine the pink and the red, you get 3.5%, So actually, when it comes to were the workshops interesting, enthusiastic, and motivating, it's a resounding over 70%. So I think that's pretty good. The second chart has to do with whether or not people felt that the workshops communicated clearly and were easily understood by most people who attended the workshops. So again, the key is the same. Dark green representing strongly agree, light green, the lighter color is just agree, and then the pink is disagree, and the red is strongly disagree. The gray is no response. So in chart number 2, people believing that the workshops were clearly articulated with clear objectives and easily understood by most people, 72% rated strongly agree to agree. A quarter, again, did not respond. And then 1.6% rated disagree. And there was no strongly disagree with this response or this question. Yes?
Sorry to interrupt right now. Just curious, and I apologize if I missed it. How many took the survey? So when we look at percentages.
Yeah, so we had about 1,400, so it's like 60%, about 1,400 people.
Okay.
So moving to chart 3. So chart 3 is about the presenter was interesting, enthusiastic, and motivating. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the one I already read. Sorry. Chart 3 is would you recommend this workshop to other people? Again, the response is so to agree and strongly agree, it was 65.9%. 26.3% did not respond, and then 7.8 disagree or strongly disagree. And then the final chart, this was, did people feel that the activities and the content covered were relevant to their professional development needs? And so here we see agree and strongly agree, 68.1% either agreed or strongly agreed. 25% again did not respond, and then 6% either disagree or strongly disagreed. So those are the quantitative responses. Now I'm going to share with you some qualitative responses. And I'm not going to read the response, I'm just going to project it on the screen to give you a few minutes to review them. And what I tried to do is pull together a range of different responses. Okay. 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 And I think that the fact that people are saying that they were disappointed that they didn't get the workshop of their choice speaks to an issue of they were engaged and that they really wanted to be there and that they wanted to be engaged in a workshop of their choice. Just a couple more. Okay. I believe this is the last piece of open response feedback. Okay. And then the last component of the conference involved our student ambassadors. So our 2022 student ambassadors, they named the town hall the Brockton Student Ambassadors Town Hall Meeting. And so we had 9 student ambassadors. Here's some of the question prompts that I'm going to put on the screen for our student ambassadors to respond to. So you don't have to respond to all 3. You can choose one of them, given the time frame. But the first question is, what are your school experiences with regards to BPS providing safe, supportive, welcoming, and inclusive learning environments for all students? And they kind of responded to this during the actual ACT conference, so this is more or less doing it again. The second question, how welcoming has this school district been to issues concerning EDI and B, and sharing the experiences that you think would be helpful? And the third question is, from your perspective, how important is it to you that BPS offers more courses and programs that promote EDI for all students? So I'm going to invite Mateo and Jahir to actually speak to any one of these questions from their own experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Mateo Rasher. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a junior here at Brockton High School. I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to be here, and I want to thank Mr. Williams for bringing us here, Ms. Hayworth, and Jahir, who was my host with me. So I'm going to be focusing, that was my phone, I'll leave it on the ground. I'm going to be focusing primarily on the second and third question, how welcoming is this district into issues concerning. Okay, so, where should I start, Mr. Williams? So I've been in the Brockton public school system ever since I've been in school. I went to the Hancock, the Angelo, the Plouffe, and now Brockton High School. My family's been in this school system for even longer. My grandmother worked at this school for 60 years. My father attended this school, and so did all of my cousins and my uncles. So Brockton's really important to me, and I've definitely had really positive experiences here in this school system, especially academic-wise. I think where Brockton Public Schools lack is in handling different types of ignorance against different groups of people, because I think that some issues are handled really, really well, and I think some are more swept under the rug. I'm transgender. I came out when I was 12 years old and attending Plouffe. I'm also Jewish, and I've experienced issues about both parts of my identity all throughout my time in Brockton Public Schools. Most recently, more with my Jewish identity, as anti-Semitism has been on the rise throughout the entire country. And I think that especially has been swept under the rug a lot by a lot of the teachers, because I think that anti-Semitism might not be seen as severe an issue as other forms of discrimination. And not just with anti-Semitism, but all forms of discrimination. I think the biggest thing we can do to combat ignorance is education. And I think some students simply don't know enough about the topics that they're discussing and making light of to aptly respond, and things such as that. I think that education about things such as the Holocaust, and not just Jewish issues, but issues of race and queer history and different religions, stuff like that, and histories of discrimination really need to be taught in school without sugarcoating, because when you sugarcoat issues, that's where you get misunderstanding. And that kind of more responds to the third question. It's important that PPS offers more courses and programs that promote equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging for all students. Now about belonging, diversity, inclusion, in my experience, I'm going to be honest and say that I haven't really felt that sense of belonging that I know a lot of my classmates have. And I feel like I haven't really found a space for myself at any of the schools that I've attended in the Brockton public school system, despite the bounds I've made in my academics, which I am very grateful for. I think that there's definitely people very welcoming here, and there's people that aren't welcoming, and I've felt alienated, I guess, not just by my peers, but sometimes by my educators as well, because of the queer portion of my identity. I talked about last time when I was here for the town hall meeting, I talked about the bathrooms, how there's only 2 gender-neutral bathrooms in the high school. And I'm grateful for even those 2 bathrooms, because I know not all schools even have one. And it just sort of feels, I don't know, dehumanizing when I'm all the way in here and then I have to walk up a flight of stairs and around to a different building just so I can use the bathroom. And I've even received questions of teachers like, why do you go so far to use the bathroom? Because it's the only bathroom I get to use. And I often wait to use the bathroom till I get home, and I don't think that should be something I have to do. I've had issues with people respecting my pronouns, teachers even. I've had issues with students respecting my identity and teachers kind of expecting me to just stick up for myself. And I just kind of feel like, yes, this portion of my identity, my queer identity, is accepted for the most part, but it isn't really celebrated. I don't feel like I have a place. I don't feel like I really fit in. And I feel like Brockton does such a good job at embracing such diverse identities, and this is one where I feel like they fall a little flat. And I'm 17, I'm going to be 18 soon, and I'm graduating next year. And it's not really so much for me, but for the younger queer kids at this school, that I want to have a bright future, and I want them to feel safe in this school and in all the schools. And I want them to feel like not only are they accepted, but they are celebrated and that they are wanted here. So thank you. I have to go, but thank you for having me.
Good one. Well, it's me again, Pierre Tino Castillo. I don't think I will have to do the introduction again. I feel like a broken record, but to begin with, I would like to start off by thanking Ms. Haywood and Mr. Williams for providing us the opportunity to, represent the students of Brockton Public Schools. And I think personally it's a big deal for me because, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a representative, to represent not just my friends, the people from my culture, my identity, but others in my community, to give them a voice where, their grievances can be expressed and be freely shared. Essentially just providing all those with a chance to, make change. And I feel like this is exactly what being an ambassador allowed me to do. Never in my life did I think I would give a presentation to teachers and administrators and community members, which it was definitely one of a life-changing experiences in my opinion. I was able to, get to meet a lot of people. And one thing that I wanted to highlight about Brockton Public Schools is a lot of the programs I was involved in, like the two-way program. I'm a native Spanish speaker. I don't know if you guys can tell by how fast I speak sometimes, and I get excited. But yeah, I was in a two-way program when I came here from Puerto Rico, and I was able to meet a lot of like-minded individuals who were from different Hispanic and Latino communities as well, and that made me feel more accepted. Knowing that other people, had that same struggle having to learn English and being able to, express themselves. So I do applaud BPS for that. And I also want to talk about like all my experiences here at high school and how we have a lot of cultural and accepting clubs and communities. And that also made me feel like I do belong here. And this kind of, brings me to the importance of having programs like this, like the ambassadors and clubs and committees. I feel like this is extremely important because at the end of the day, one of the reasons why we're all here is because of students. We want students to be their better self, essentially. And one of the ways by doing that is to create a welcoming environment where every student feels safe, where every student wants to be here. I promise you, if this education is fun and the students want to be here, then education and all test scores and everything will come after, eventually, with a lot of hard work. It's not going to be easy, I promise you that, but that is definitely one of my experiences. And I also wanted to thank Mr. Guillerto and administration, who also help here to spread equity, diversity, and inclusion amongst the school. And I do want to applaud all the other individuals who've been doing so much work to include everyone in our community. And yeah, that's kind of my highlight. I don't want to take too much of you guys' time, though. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. I think if you want to know what works for a kid, you ask a kid, right? If someone wants to know what works for you, you want them to ask you. And so here we have two examples. For those of you who weren't able to come and attend the conference, the opening as well as the student the show that we had, the Student Ambassador Show, that is going to be released very soon on YouTube. We're just working with BCA. They have it and they're just waiting just for the go-ahead. So that will be posted very soon. So you can see that whole thing at the end in its entirety. I think that will help a lot of us really understand in a deep way what our kids need. And we're hearing honest, just like you heard from Mateo, honest reflection. And I hope that we pay attention because like we just heard you here say, we're all here. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for the kids. And we're in service for kids. And our system should be built around kids. So I just thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Donnell, and thank you to our students. So we can move to the next. That's it for my report.
Thank you, Mr.
Mayor,
Superintendent.
other than items to refer to subcommittee.
Are there any items to refer to subcommittee at this time, members of the committee? Ms. Azak?
Oh, I apologize, it's under new business.
Okay, almost there.
Almost there.
So there's no items to refer. We'll go to number 5, unfinished business. Any unfinished business relative to?
I have one.
Yes.
Just again to remind everyone that tomorrow is the big MSBA board meeting where they will vote on the statement of interest for Brockton High School, whether to accept Brockton High School into the core program of the MSBA, which is either a new school or a renovated school. So that is at 10 a.m. and I know a lot of you have signed up to be there via Zoom. So we'll be there, and hopefully by 10:45, 11 o'clock, we'll know how the board votes, and then we can have Jess put out a press release, and then we would start the long process of working with us city council members, the mayor's office, all of us, but also with the community as well to because there's a whole planning phase that takes about 2 years that makes sure they get everybody's voices to see where we go with either a new or renovated Brockton High.
Superintendent, has that Zoom link been generated as of yet?
Yes,
Yes?
it was generated. You just had to click on and sign up, so if you don't have it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. I know I signed up, but I didn't see
Yep.
the link yet. Awesome. Any other matters about that? Cross our fingers and say a prayer for that. Number 6, new business. Ms. Azak, please.
Thank you. Earlier this evening, around 5:45, the building naming subcommittee met, and we had the public hearing for the naming of the building for the city, I apologize, at Champion High School, the new location over on Summer Street. So the building will be known as the, and Superintendent, if you want to just correct me on that, we have it as the Robert C. Jones Building, correct?
Yes, the Champion High School at the
Robert C. Jones Building, okay.
I misspoke earlier.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that,
Thank
because when the committee originally voted, it was voted on the Robert C. Jones, Champion High School at the Robert C. Jones Building. So we had our public hearing, and I believe we need a vote now as the whole committee, or are we all set?
Oh, we would, and I just will need some clarification. Is it called Learning Center or building? Because I know it was...
It's gonna be building.
I misspoke.
It's called building?
Yeah.
Okay.
So originally, we had voted on building, and that's, all along, we've always had it as the Robert C. Jones Building.
Okay, and it did come out favorable, unanimous from the committee. Is there a motion on the floor relative to the naming? Need to have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to name the Champion High School after Mr. Robert C. Jones.
So motion on the floor, is there a second?
I don't think I can second, that's why I was waiting for
Can't.
Mrs.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Sullivan, it was properly by Mrs. Sullivan. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It's unanimous, and the building will be named after Mr. Jones. So congratulations, Mr. Jones.
Can I just ask a question? Superintendent, do we have a time frame on that?
Probably takes about a month and a half, 4 to 8 weeks to make up a sign.
So it'd be early,
Bob's will work.
probably
on it.
like by March?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
we would have.
Just
a
so
ceremony.
we can allow Mr. Jones and his family enough time, you know,
Absolutely.
if we have a presentation.
Yep.
Before we go to the bid review, just for a status update, I know this committee, we named the stage in the Nelson Auditorium after Carol Thomas and Vinnie Macrina. I know we were going to have another rededication with a sign. Do you know where we are on the sign?
Yeah, it should be installed by the middle of January.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it's actually lettering,
okay,
so it fits in with
perfect.
the stage.
Motif.
Yeah, the motif.
Motif.
Yeah.
Thank you for the update. Mrs. Sullivan, relative to bid review subcommittee?
I just have a report here for the bid review. Subcommittee meeting was held on Tuesday, December 13th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Arnone Elementary School Theater. On the agenda was for FY 2022 school bids, request for proposal 2280-0036. The project title is American Time Upgrade of the Brockton Public Schools District Clock and Bell Systems. Mrs. Ehlers made a motion to approve the American Time clocks up at Brockton High School for the total amount of $212,603.90 for the high school only. Seconded by Mr. Rodriguez. There was no other business, and the meeting adjourned at 6:08 p.m. Thank you.
We need to entertain a motion at this time?
I think we
Accept
need a
that.
motion for the full committee.
Yep.
It was voted in favor in the bid review subcommittee.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. So there's a favorable motion that came out of the subcommittee. I entertain a motion on the full committee relative to the matter that Judy just articulated.
Motion to approve.
Motion was made by Mrs. Ayler. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor of that, please raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It passes unanimous. Thank you very much. We have about a minute to go to the holiday concert. So is there anything else before us at this time? I do just want to thank John Snellgrove and Julie Caldwell and everybody that helped at Lombardo's the other day for the champion dinner, for the holiday dinner. Over 1,500 toys were given out. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. So I know a lot of people that work, the administration really worked on that, but it was really great to see so many Brockton Public School kids benefit. So thank you, Superintendent, for running point on that. Did you have something, Joyce?
I just wanted a quick thank you to all the volunteers. We got all our coats out. We had 1,200 coats. We got them out. Thank you to Cradles to Crayons, all the volunteers. And I apologize for interrupting. Mayor, I'm sure you were ready to wish everyone a happy holiday. This is our last meeting before our new year. Next
Yes.
meeting is not till January 3rd, I believe.
That's correct.
So,
I
looking
do
forward-
want to wish everybody that celebrates Hanukkah. Hanukkah started the other night, so if you celebrate Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa, which is coming up the day after Christmas. Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year to everybody here and those watching and everybody that lives and works in the city of Brockton. I entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made, properly seconded.
Second.
Second by Ms. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Have a good night. Bye-bye.